I was staying in North Hollywood, and I was in this shitty apartment. It was made out of like fucking the same boxes that they used like to ship refrigerators in. Like literally, the walls when the earthquake hit, the walls were smelling like this. I mean, like the whole thing was just like a giant was pushing on the house.
Scary as fuck, right?
Yeah, well, it's humbling.
Yeah.
Because you realize, like, this is nothing. This isn't chewing up the street. This isn't knocking over any houses. Imagine what it felt like when that big one hit, and it hit for 30 seconds. For 30 seconds is so long to feel the ground moving. That's why those people moved to Boulder.
Well, that's why. I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
When you have that experience, there's some people that, because for a few days after Northbridge, there was aftershocks.
Yeah.
And there's people that one day look at their kids and go, I'm not going through this again. I work in Wilshire. I work in Wilshire. I have a big building. What if?
Yeah.
So what if I was in
like
that fucking building? What if? So a lot of people just abandon. That's what everybody's waiting for. An earthquake here. Because then people leave and they sell their houses for dirt cheap. Like, fuck it, we're out.
It does happen.
We're out. We're gone. They don't ever want to experience it again. But then I see a guy like my uncle who's lived here since 55. And I've asked him, were you ever scared? And he goes, you know, you feel him, but...
Dude, when I first moved here, before I first moved here, I was out here for meetings, and I went by a section of the highway, I think it was the 10, that had collapsed. And they were moving cars around it.
Yeah.
And is this what happened? What is this, an apartment building that collapsed?
Yeah, just Northridge earthquake.
Oh, this is the Northridge one?
Yeah.
Dude, that was a fucking serious earthquake, man.
Yeah.
Like, fucking serious. And when I was driving by this one section of the highway, it collapsed on the lower section. And I remember thinking, that's just shit luck. Like this right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you could be there, and that is just shit luck.
It is, really.
Blam, that thing lands on you, and that's how you go.
I'm sorry. I am a hard-working individual. I really try to do anything I could to help myself. But when people call me and tell me they want me to go to a meeting in Santa Monica after like 3, unless I'm picking up an envelope, I tell them no. Remember when that kid won the Oscar from Modern Family? And he said, I was always the guy that went to Ocean Avenue at 5 for those auditions.
Yeah.
You deserve an Oscar, because when you switch from the 10 to the 405, you got to wait on that ramp.
Yeah.
That
And
is
if
such
you're
first
high-
world privilege right there.
And if you're
It
fucking
is.
high and you're in the middle of that ramp, your mind starts playing. I'm telling you, I've been stuck on that ramp and I've gone, never again.
Oh, man.
I
used
want to
be,
go through this ramp. I don't ever want to be in the middle of that ramp. That's not good.
Not good.
Your mind starts playing with you, and you remember those images, and you go, "Fuck that."
Okay, let's plan this right now. If the shit hits the fan, this thing shakes to the ground.
Yeah.
Where are we going? Because listen, one of the main reasons why I like being in LA is because I like you guys.
Yeah, so where we're going to all go.
I like for real, like 100%. Like that was the thing that bothered me the most about Colorado. There was a lot of nice people out there, but I didn't know you guys weren't out there.
You were alone. It's a weird feeling to be alone.
I would see you when we work together, but there's something fun about running into you guys all the time.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It makes life better. We do
It
sets
does.
at the store, the factory, and wherever we're at. It's more fun. It makes life more fun.
I would do
this
it-
podcast.
100%. I would do a group move to Colorado. if
Fuck
everyone's
yeah,
down.
that's what I'm talking about.
I love that state.
That's what we do. The group
And
move
you
to
gotta-
Colorado's the right way.
And you got to remember, guys, it's not our decision in that. It could be you go home, and Mrs. Rogan sits you down and go,
That's it.
I'm not living through this again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how. And in fact, I packed the bags. I'm
You got
going
bags
to Colorado without you. I'm going to a hotel. Like some people, it affects that way.
Oh, yeah.
That they
Yeah.
go like this ends
right now.
today.
Yeah.
With that earthquake, you're saying?
Yeah, like some
sure.
people
I
really.
bet
have
if you
to-
feel it, if you feel that motherfucker, the ones that take down highways, if you feel that, you're like, oh my god. Like, and this is not even a really big one.
Yeah.
Really big ones change the shape of continents.
True.
I mean, that's the real fear. The real fear is there's a giant one, like a 10 or an 11.
Part of you, by the way, always feels kind of crazy. Like when I was growing up in Florida with hurricanes, that like after a hurricane, you're like, are we staying after this? And they're like, yeah, it happens all the time. That's Florida's mentality. Like, this is shit happens.
We're just bored up, get beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's something
Stand
about a
out.
hurricane that, like, for whatever reason, I feel like if you're just in the basement, the top blows off the thing, and you just fucking strap yourself in
Sometimes.
like a wild ride at Disneyland.
But now they give you these warnings. They're like, you're definitely gonna die if you're at the beach, and people still are like, fuck it. And
Yeah.
they're like,
Oh, for sure.
I have my friend's mom. His mom is like 70-something years old, and this big one was coming. They're like, this time we're not fucking around. This is a Category 5. This is going to absolutely devastate this area. And she was like, absolutely not. I've been here 40-some years. Nothing ever fucking happens. And he begged her, and she was like, no. And then and it's like, you know, those reports are always rolling the dice because they'll say it's going to be this bad, and then it'll turn or it'll land different.
Yeah.
And it turned into like a tropical storm. She was like, see, but she was like the only person that stayed. Like everybody else, we would always bail. I don't know if you were ever there for hurricane,
No.
but like we would always book it, man. As soon as they were like, this thing is going to land, we're like, no, there's no way. And even driving in those tropical storms was unreal, man. Like, you can't see an inch in front of the car.
Yeah,
it's like
really
you're driving through a car wash.
We had to stop once. Were you with me when Eddie did that seminar in Miami when we were working at West Palm? Did you go down with us?
No.
Eddie is doing a seminar in West Palm, or in Miami. We
Yeah.
were in West Palm. It's like a half hour away. So we left to go to the seminar, and we were stopped dead on the highway. You could not see an inch in front of the windshield.
It's amazing.
It was
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It lasted for about 15 minutes, but it was just...
Yeah. Dude, that
the
happens
sky
all
opened up.
the time there. All the time.
We don't even know what rain is.
No.
We don't
No.
even know. And I never knew growing up, like in Boston growing up. Growing up in Boston, I never saw that.
Yeah.
We saw it rain. We
Yeah.
never saw that. Like,
No.
that's some next level.
I haven't really seen it duplicated since leaving there.
I saw one.
It's
I saw one.
pretty crazy.
As a child, I saw one bad rainstorm in Jersey, where the clouds got dark.
Yeah.
It started hailing. Have you ever lived through hail in Colorado? That's
hail
fucked
is
up.
Did you
Yeah.
ever see videos of when people's cars are just
Oh
getting
my
destroyed?
God.
Pounded, yeah.
And there's
Pounded.
one guy had a film of a lake. They were watching it, and it slowly ramps up. It's like 1, 2, 1, 2, and he's like, "Whoa, look at the size of this hail!" And then all of a sudden, it's fuck. It's literally like we're being attacked with rocks from space.
That's
like
really
here,
wild.
watch this. Look at this. Look at this
That's
fucking
hail?
guy's pool. Yeah, there's a gang of these, man. But like, look at this one. Look at that. That's rocks. Those are ice rocks.
It fucks people's
This
cars
is insane.
up.
Oh,
Their roofs.
destroys cars.
Whenever this happens
Look
in
at the fucking
Colorado,
water, dude.
1,000 roofers moved to Colorado because there's work for 2 fucking years.
Yeah, but you get KO'd.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, look at it. It's getting worse. This is insane. Dude, you get KO'd. Okay, especially if you're like a little kid.
Oh, definitely.
Imagine being a 5-year-old out in this. You
No,
get
no.
fucking pummeled to death. Has anybody ever died from hail?
Has to have happened.
Seems like it.
The
Look
first
at
week
that
I
shit.
moved to
That's
LA,
insane.
Tom Segura, the first week I moved to LA on a Monday, and that Friday was the North Hollywood shootout. Oh,
really?
I was like, I'm not sure if this is the place for me.
That was
I
that
remember
week?
that.
That Monday I came in, I was living with Stanhope.
Yeah.
I went to find a job that Friday.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of traffic, and they were like, nah, there's a North Hollywood shootout. I
That-
didn't know what North Hollywood was.
That shootout changed policing nationwide. You know that incident changed the way they viewed having weapons, changed their training. They've never even contemplated that people would rob a bank with like fully automatic
Do you
machine
remember
guns.
the scene
Fucking
of the guy
crazy.
coming out with the body armor just
Yep.
fucking blasting?
And that dude was laying by a car after he was hit, just
Yep.
shooting up at helicopters and shit. That was fucking crazy, man. I remember that national news. That was just like a big
You
fucking
couldn't get
deal.
on the 101.
No, I was in the news radio break room. We were getting ready to film a scene, and we were watching it. Me and Candy Alexander huddled up together, going, "What in the fuck?"
Yeah, man.
Everybody came in. Guys, get in here! Get in here! We were all in there watching. They're like, "What in the fuck?" And it changed the way they, what kind of tactics they use and the equipment they give police.
Absolutely.
Because they
Monday
were
night.
like, they had 38s back then.
They still reference it all the time. Yeah, I did a ride along 2 months ago with the Hollywood division,
Dude.
and guy was still talking about. He's like, we have this because of this shootout.
And you know, that's a lot of people say, "Oh man, fucking the militarization of the police, man. This is what," and there's a lot of it that's not good. You give people too much power, it's not good.
Yeah.
But if some shit happens like that, they need that. Otherwise, they're sitting ducks.
Yeah.
You know what kind of weapons you get on the streets right now?
Oh, dude,
You have any
you get
fucking
crazy
idea
shit.
the firepower You get on the street, some AR-15s, you get some wild shit on the fucking street.
Yeah.
All you have to do is this number. It's real quick mathematics for anybody's interested. There's 350 million people somewhere around this country. There's more guns than there are people, and they're still making guns. Every day they make guns. There's a gun-making industry. It's gigantic.
Yeah.
They're making all kinds of guns all over the country right now.
Every year, like
every year they make
newer,
more.
higher tech.
They're not getting rid of any guns. Like all those guns for toys. Oh, give back your gun and you'll get a toy. Okay. And then there's a factory going on right now. They're cranking out ARs. Kabang, kabang, kabang.
And one person's like, here you go. Yeah.
Some rusty old 22 for a
I'll
for a
take you
teddy
to a
bear.
fucking handball court and you get anything except like a hunting rifle.
I can't believe they're playing handball still.
That's how they
Who's
get
dedicated to handball? Who's like, I'm going to be the best,
when you
bro.
get out of prison. What do you think you do in prison? You play handball. So when you get out, you claim disability, you play handball all day, and it's a cover for you. That you're a half a Momo, but you play handball, but you sell guns that kill. You'll get a gun at a handball court for $50 that shot 3 people. That gun hasn't missed. A motherfucker shot himself. A motherfucker committed suicide long range with those guns. They don't give a fuck. They got guns that don't miss on the handball courts.
Did you play handball in prison? Is that you said?
I played handball like the first 2 weeks. It just wasn't for me. I played in Colorado. Because there was a few guys from the Bronx.
Yeah.
So when I went to Summit County, because I was arrested in Boulder, but once you start your state sentence, they were going to send me to either Missouri or Texas. I ended up going to Summit County. Summit County is like, we don't really have bars.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Like, you could just do what you want here.
Yeah.
At night at 10 o'clock, the guard would go to the Pathmark. Not Pathmark, like a supermarket.
Yeah.
And get us chips and sodas.
What?
It was like a fucking daycare.
Wow.
So
I
you
was
get along with people? Everyone got along pretty well?
Yeah, I hung out with a dude from the Bronx that played handball. And we became friends together. He had been on the run for 12 years. But this guy was brilliant. He was fucking brilliant. Like the shit he had done. He had driven the cops. Like, what's that movie Leonardo DiCaprio did?
Catch Me If You Can.
Like he was that guy.
Right.
And the final thing he did to them was, they caught him and he set him up on a drug sting. Like, I read the paperwork. It was brilliant. He set him up on a drug sting. He said, I know where I can go buy 10 kilos of coke. The cops actually gave him $250,000 cash to buy the 10 kilos of coke. He set it up with his friend to have a car behind the house. The car was empty. The house was empty.
There was no
The cops never even did a background check to see who lived in the house.
Jesus.
The house was empty. He went through the front and went out the back and disappeared, traveled for 10 years. And he came back to the States because his dad died and they arrested him.
Wow.
He
took a
took the
chance. It was like
$250,000.
10 years ago. How
10
the fuck
years
is he
ago,
going to remember me?
he went to like Aruba and just played shuffleboard and handball.
That's a dark world. The world of the expat and those South American like, tourist communities.
Yeah.
That's like that.
It's pretty sizable, too, right? I mean, I
It's
feel like
very
there's-
sizable.
Yeah,
all
a lot
over
of people.
all over Mexico. There's a lot of people in Brazil and all
I had a
parts
friend
of South America.
that's dad was island hopping all throughout his adolescence just to
wow.
avoid taxes. Just to avoid taxes.
Wow.
And then the crazy thing to me is that they came here, like they came back eventually. And I'm like, so is he in trouble? He's like, no. How's he not in trouble? He's like, I don't know. But aren't they going to catch him? He's like, no. What do you mean, man? Like, he's here now. Like, is that a whole new identity? No.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Does he pay taxes?
He says no, and he's like,
Now he doesn't?
He
He's
still
blowing up his
doesn't.
spot.
And then my friend was still like, you don't have to pay taxes. And I was like,
Oh, one of
"What?"
those guys.
One of
Talk
those
to
guys.
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, I know. He goes, Google it. I was like,
no,
Google
you
it.
have to pay taxes, man.
Google
you
it.
have to pay fucking taxes.
When that's your thing, like, just look it up, man.
God damn it, pay your taxes.
That's
course.
the worst
They will
advice.
lock you up.
They'll
so
fuck you
quick.
up, of course.
And it doesn't matter if you pay them. See, if you owe money to, say, like Exxon, whatever, they'll sue you. You have to pay the money.
Yeah.
You pay the money. But if the IRS, if you owe money to the IRS, they put you in a fucking cage.
For sure.
Regardless of if you pay it.
Whoa. Let's say you
Even
owe,
if you agree to pay it, they'll say,
Yeah.
you're going to go in a cage first.
Yeah, no.
if
pay
you
your
owe
taxes.
a company money, they file a judgment against you. And then they sell the paper, and then you get called at comedy clubs like I used to. You know, when I first started comedy, I owed so much money. That
Did you really?
I go to a comedy club, and the manager would go, you just got a call. You just got 3 calls. And I go, holy shit, it's HBO.
Really, like collections?
no.
Collection
In my
people?
mind, I would go, it's HBO. Oh, shit. And all of a sudden, they would go, Joey, it's the same guy. And I'd pick up the phone, Joey, Discover card. We never got that payment. Motherfucker.
Wow.
They fucking figured out they have tremendous scams of people looking for you.
Yeah.
They have a computer that they'll go on to see what are the numbers that usually call you, and they'll get that number, and when they call you, that number will come up over your caller ID. They do some illegal shit when they're looking for you. But when you get a judgment from Exxon, 7 years you don't pay it, it goes away. The government, that judgment never goes away. That and the student loan. These motherfuckers that tell student loans to suck their dick. Ooh.
Oh yeah, student loans.
They come
That's
back.
even more intense than IRS. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's all the government as well.
Right.
The thing about student loans is it doesn't get erased when you go to bankruptcy.
Yeah, it doesn't get
So if
erased,
you file for
period.
bankruptcy, anything else is gone. You know?
Yeah.
I paid a student loan. I thought it was cute. I took the last one out, the 2625, the minimum. Fuck you.
I've known a couple of people.
They showed up about 3 years ago, dog, with a big old number. I had to get an attorney to negotiate it down and get off it.
Oh.
The IRS, I didn't pay taxes from 90 to 2001.
What?
Dog, I was crazy. I was hiding. I was doing, what was I making? 8,000 a year as a road comic.
Yeah,
doing
okay.
triple runs.
That's
What
true.
am I going to file?
Yeah.
So I didn't file. I made money 1 out of the 13 years, or 11 years. And one day I walked in downtown. I thought they were going to shoot me in the head.
Mm-hmm.
I took a number. They called my name. I went back there. I told them I hadn't filed in 11 years. They asked me what I did. I talked to the lady for a half hour. She goes, we don't go back for 7. So you got 7 free years.
Yeah.
They don't throw you in. Bro, listen, you have to be a dumb motherfucker for them to throw you in jail.
Or you have to be a public figure.
They give you every option, Joe.
Yeah.
The public figure, you're actually worse off than if you're some just legitimate
But
businessman.
if you're a public figure, I could go down there with my attorney and say, look,
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot 10 movies in the next 3
No,
years.
they would not let Wesley Snipes do that.
Because he gave him such a... At first, he was telling them all this shit that fuck rules and fuck the United States.
think
and
he was just-
Black Africa and reprimand. Yeah, he was talking about all that shit. And that shit drives them crazy.
I don't think
He
that's what he
also
was talking
made
about.
he made
being,
a case that he didn't owe though.
Yes,
too.
yes,
He was
yeah,
like, no, I
that's what
don't
it
owe.
really.
Yes.
He like my friend.
No, you got to go in there humble, and they'll play with you. Once you start talking
okay.
about Amendment 11
Right.
and Thomas Jefferson and black reparations and Chinese yakuzas, they don't give a Frenchman's fuck. You're
There's a
going to
lot
jail.
of those people out there that convince people that they don't have to pay taxes. And it's not in the Constitution.
People, it's like
A
they
lot of
want to
people-
believe it, like a conspiracy theory. You know?
Well,
They-
no, it might be. Here's the thing. I mean, you might have a legal argument, but it doesn't matter. They'll put you in
Yeah,
a
you
fucking
can't get away with
cage.
Tax evasion. It's a
They're
real
going
law.
to take that money and put you in a fucking cage, and you won't make any
that
money.
kid from fucking The Solution.
What's that?
That kid that we met.
The Solution.
Is
The
that his name?
Situation.
Whatever his fucking name is. Let me get a tissue paper. What's the kid from Tarantino that we met? What's his-
yeah. He's a nice guy.
He's a very nice guy.
He's a very nice guy.
But
Wait,
dog,
what happened to him?
He tried to fuck.
He actually didn't just not pay his taxes. There was some shenanigans where he pretended he made less than he actually did.
Yeah,
like
they'll
that
get
kind
you
of
on
stuff.
that
what,
too.
why these Pete Roses?
They got Sinbad. Remember that? They were putting him on the
Yeah.
front page of the
Oh.
LA Times for years.
You know why those dogs?
Mike, the situation
Oh,
Tarantino
this
hit
guy.
with more charges,
Yeah.
including tax evasion and structuring.
The
Yeah.
tax evasion. Like once you structure it and you're the mastermind of it,
Well, it's not a good.
that's
it's not
not
a
good.
Good.
You're definitely going to the farm.
You know what
So
the craziest
interesting.
part of the story was to me? That for that period that they're like hitting him up about, he made $9
$1
million.
million. So,
Good for him.
No, I just was amazed that like I didn't realize that from. I mean, I remember that show, obviously a huge hit, but that's an incredible sum of money.
We should really pay attention to this. Like,
To
just
his?
not just his, but what they can do. Because you think about what it is we're just talking about money, right? And we're talking about some deception on his part, where you try to keep some money.
Yeah, try to make it
Now,
look like
you
he
do
earned
that
it.
with anybody else.
Yeah,
Say if you're in some sort of a deal with Costco and you do some sneaky shit, they can sue you,
Yeah.
and you'll owe them, and you have to pay them, but there's no threat of jail time,
right.
right? I mean, is there? If you tried to, like, cook the books, would they
Right.
get
Yes.
you? Would they put you in jail, or would they just try to
it's fraud,
fine you?
wire fraud. They have a lot of
You
different
probably pay
names.
fines, though. I'm guessing, right?
Do you think it would be
Fines.
the same kind of scrutiny and attention, though, that he's getting?
No, I think it'd be all about paying a lot of money.
Let's pretend that Mike Sorrentino, is that his name? Let's pretend that he had some sort of a deal with Chevrolet, and he was using his name to sell cars, but he was fucking around with some money and cooking the books and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, to the same tune as what was going on with the IRS. What do you think they would do to him? Would you even be seeing this on TV?
No, they would. No, yeah, it'd be like a suit.
Right, because what they're saying is this guy tried to fuck the Big Daddy.
Right.
I mean, that's what they're showing you.
Right.
They're showing you that Big Daddy gets mad when you try to fuck him.
And in the grand scheme of things, like it's a lot of money for an individual to earn, but it's it's not money that affects Big Daddy. But they're sending a
Big
message.
Daddy's coming after you. But
Yeah.
here's the strange thing: Big Daddy is just people. Like, why do we let anything be Big Daddy?
Yeah.
Like we used to think of it, I think, from like almost like a primitive perspective. Like you have a king, or you have a leader of a tribe.
Yeah.
I think that's how people used to think of it. They used to think of all these organizations, whether it's the FBI or the DEA, as being a part of that. But they're just a bunch of fucking people.
Yeah.
And no person should ever be Big Daddy to the point where if you have money that's owed to someone else, perhaps, and there's some sort of an argument that you've been deceptive, that they can just swoop down and take all your money. Like, they lock it all up. Like, they go, no, we're fucking freezing your funds. Like, Exxon doesn't get to do that.
Yeah.
Chevy doesn't get to do that. Other corporations don't get to do that. But Big Daddy has the overall say. If you violate Big Daddy's code, even though Big Daddy, like, you don't even have to get a receipt from Big Daddy. You give Big Daddy half your money, and Big Daddy just takes it and spends it as they will.
Does whatever the fuck he wants.
Does whatever the fuck they want. Woo!
Yep.
And and you say, what? You don't think you should pay taxes, you fucking hippie? What are you, a Bernie Sanders supporter? Not even saying that. Not even saying that. Don't you think Big Daddy should be accountable? If Big Daddy's going to be able to just throw us in a cage because we don't give him ones and zeros, don't you think Big Daddy should be a little bit accountable?
They should be way more accountable for their spending. Way more accountable.
Way more. You shouldn't just. You should be able to check off boxes too.
Yeah.
There should be like needs, like healthcare, check, like police department, check. Fire department, check. Things that we all like have to pay.
Yeah.
And then there should be elective things. A bunch of elective shit.
Well, I feel like they should also, like, our representatives should be way more willing and actually mandated to explain in detail and what they're doing, what they're spending on.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of House of Representatives, Congress, Senate, there's just like an air of arrogance about the way that they even handle them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they have power.
Of course.
They're Big Daddy.
They're Big Daddy. And it's the just like aloofness that they have is it's always been upsetting to me.
It's fucking gross.
Yeah.
No one should be Big Daddy. And
True.
the people in Congress should be humble. And that's one of the things about Obama. Say what you want about Obama, whether you like his policies. As a human being, that guy conducted himself better than any president ever. The way he spoke, the way he interacted with people, the way he even responded to criticism. We're not just. I'm not talking about his policies, and you might hate
the classy
Affordable
individual.
Care. As good as it's ever been.
Yeah.
Which is why this Trump thing is in such direct contrast. When he's yelling the other day at some reporter, and he said, you're fake news. He used that again.
I know, man.
He said, "Be quiet, fake news," or something like that.
Well,
I think he was talking about something.
We can conflate the two. Like, if you want to talk about policy and effectiveness of an administration and just personal conduct. Like, let's say you take all the politics out of it. That's what bothers a lot of people to this moment still.
Yeah.
If you just even separate politics, which a lot of people aren't in favor of, just the way he conducts himself. Some people love it. Let's be honest. Some people love it.
Very small amount of people love it. I
Right,
think
but a
they
lot of
thought it
people
was fun
are
before he's the
bothered by it.
president.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying before, there's no debtor's prison.
Yeah.
There's no debtor's prison. When I first got into comedy, I was getting divorced. I was getting squeezed by an attorney. And as much as I never forget the first day I ever missed sending a payment or anything. Like, I'll never forget how shitty I felt.
Terrible, right?
Yeah.
That my credit rating, everything I had worked all those years was going down the toilet. And then at that point, I said, if I'm walking on ice, I might as well dance. I mean, I was just buying cars and fucking around. And you know what? They couldn't throw me in jail for all that shit. But one night, Discover closed my account.
Yeah.
And I went home and opened up my drawer on one of those, because when you want Coke, you get fuck Einstein. You get creative, Jack. I went home and I opened up a drawer and I saw those checks, those 3 checks that Discover sends you.
Yeah.
When you first get the card. I had a bank account, a Bank of Boulder, whatever it was called, and I had my car financed through there. I went in there. They had a 24-hour drive-through. I went in there at 1 o'clock and signed that check over to myself for $1,000. I waited for 2 seconds, and all of a sudden an envelope came out with 10 hundreds. I peeled and did 90 out of there. Monday at 9:01, Discover called me and said, "You got an hour to bring that fucking money back, or we're going to charge you with fraud. And I was put up against the thing. I went to the bank. I told them it was a mistake. I didn't know. And one lady said, you know what? I'll take that 1,000. I'll give you the 1,000, but I'm going to put it into your car loan and raise the payments by $25. For every 1,000, it's $25. And that's the only reason why I didn't go to jail for that fucking thing. So they don't put you in jail for being in debt. They put you in jail for deception. You know how they get athletes and entertainers? You know what their biggest downfall is? When they go to Comic-Cons and those autograph signings.
Oh, they don't get paid for those, or they get paid for those and don't report it.
There's two things. There's the people who get $5,000 flat, and you take pictures all day. Then there's the people that get $10 for their T-shirt and $15 for a headshot and a smile.
Yeah.
Those $15 go in your pocket, bro. You know what I'm saying? And what happens is you have to give a percentage of that $15 to the guy. It's like when you sell merch at a comedy club now. All of a sudden now they want 8% of your merch. Same thing. Well, that guy reports it, but Pete Rose, I'm just saying, Pete Rose, I have nothing against Pete Rose, my daughter. Pete Rose, he just puts $15 in his pocket.
Right.
Or $60, or he took 10 pictures, it's $150. That's how they come get you on all those autograph things.
Right. What's going on here? What's this?
It's from an article. That's what he's talking about. This article is talking about walking away from Comic-Con with garbage bags full of 20s. This guy said he can make up to 250 grand.
What? Oh, shit.
That's why he said he didn't feel a need for representation, because he's walking out with a bag full of cash.
What? Who is he?
It's like an unnamed person. He's a source deeply involved.
Stephen Arnell, who became so enhanced to the festival business that he started his own talent agency.
He's the star of The Arrow, the show The Arrow.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's a lot of money. That seems very strange, though.
So Comic-Con, you pay for a booth, and then I think you give them 3% of your overall take.
Don't you think that's really bizarre, having people paid to come meet you? That seems real strange.
I think it's weird to charge somebody for a picture and charge somebody to sign. I mean, I guess the signing thing, I understand there's a bit, especially in sports, you know.
I can
it's
understand if you're selling a book,
but
or if it's your thing that you're signing.
Whoa.
$500,000 a weekend. Who the fuck gets that?
Guy from Walking Dead, Norman Reedus.
What?
Oh, $200,000 guaranteed.
$200,000 guarantee and
So I know
pocket
people who-
$500 grand a weekend.
I know celebrities who get a flat, and the ones that are on their way real low, like if you want Lucille Ball, or like if you want Happy Days or something like that, they get piecework.
I just changed my mind. I'm all in. I'm doing it next weekend. I'm taking pictures with your mom, your kids.
I mean, no. It's you would never do this, Joe. Like the other day, a friend of mine called me. He goes, I was at my dad's hospital room the other day, and it was the funniest thing. Joe Rogan, a young Joe Rogan, sitting around a campfire with people. He goes, I never saw that episode. And all of a sudden he pulled out a bag of dicks, and he made everybody eat dicks. He goes, me and my dad were fucking howling. You know, for some people in 10 years, they're going to come to you and say, can I take a picture for $10? I love the Fear Factor. We love, and you're sitting there going, what the fuck are you talking about?
Pictures.
I understand that.
I think it's a bad relationship.
It is, but some people, when they go to Comic-Con, they take their whole savings out. They're ready to go down
I'm
there.
sure. I understand.
And it's a shame.
I understand
it's a fucking shame, but
I
there's
don't
people
have
who
any
do it to
problem
make a
with it.
living. What are you going to do?
I don't have any problem with it, and I don't have any problem with people doing it to make a living.
No,
I just feel like
but I was just saying that's how you get nailed. That's how they nail you.
Don't you think,
forget to
though? I mean,
report that.
could you see yourself doing that?
I'm too embarrassed.
That's what I'm saying.
Listen, when I was a coke fiend, I couldn't sell CDs after a show. So what does that tell you?
Why couldn't you?
I'm just too embarrassed.
Oh, wow.
I have a hard
crazy.
time. I'd rather shake your hand and hug you and get the fuck out than you not come up to me because I'm selling a $25 CD.
Yeah, that's a funny thing about you, Joey. You know, I've been friends with a lot of guys that had substance abuses. Like I told you about my friend Johnny back in New York. And one thing that you both had in common is that even though you had, like, these issues, there was never a point where I felt like I couldn't trust you with something. You know, like you never would sell anybody out. You would never, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not a type of person who would do something to hurt somebody else so that you could profit because you were sick and you needed drugs. That was never you. You always had like a strong code of ethics.
If not, get out that you were worth nothing. I was a junkie that had problems, but when Ari started telling people he's a junkie, but he pays his bills.
Yeah,
like,
you know,
people were like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah,
you were just a guy struggling, and I recognized in you a lot of what I had seen in my friend Johnny. Is that there's a lot of people that are brilliant people that for some reason the fabric of society just doesn't fit them. There's something about getting up in the morning and going to a job, and whatever it is about the way they were raised, the experiences that they had, just who they are inherently from birth, whatever the factors are. There's certain people that just can't do the regular thing, and they just need to find this other thing. For you, it was obviously stand-up, and once you found that other thing and became successful at that other thing, that's when your whole thing changed. That's when you were, it was really proof positive. For sure you learned a lot of things about life, you got older, you got wiser, but I think a big part of you becoming more comfortable and more relaxed and becoming who you are today is that you started becoming successful as a comedian. And when you started becoming successful as a comedian, like 10 years ago, things started really ramping up for you, a noticeable relaxing of you, noticeable change. Because you realize, like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. The problem is when this isn't working. And then you think, well, maybe I should go back to selling cars. Or maybe I should get a job in a factory. Maybe I should do something 3 or 4 nights a week, just bartend, make a little extra money, lighten up the load on the family. That when those types of things start fucking with you, and that's when you start doing coke. That's when you start going crazy. That's when you stay up late. That's when you fuck off. That's when you make big mistakes. Like, you're unhappy. You're upset. You're in the wrong groove.
It wasn't the external struggles as much as the internal struggles.
Or maybe all of it together
this
combined.
This November's going to be 10 years that I haven't done a line of coke. I still remember being in Cobb's.
That's amazing.
With you the January after the November. And you're like, you haven't done it in 60 days. And I wasn't sweating it out.
Yeah.
But I still wasn't trusting myself.
Right.
I thought I could snap at any minute. Some chick with hot tits with a gram of coke could tell me off.
Yeah.
You know that? Yeah. But it never... I'm going
I've never
on
even
10
done
years.
coke, and I'm suspect.
You gotta remember, bro, for me it wasn't about success or selling tickets. For me it was just doing something with my life.
Right.
Where I had come from, all I wanted was just to do something with my life. If I could pay rent, feed the cats, smoke pot, and do spots, that's a lot better than what I used to do.
Yeah.
That's a lot better than the life I had. You understand me? Even if I don't go on the road and I'm not Louis C.K., it didn't matter to me. Just that I didn't have to carry a gun or worry about people knocking on my door. I was like Richard Gere and Olsen's Gentlemen. I had nowhere else to go.
I got nowhere else
So I might as well go to the store and do that stupid spot at 12:45, and look what happened. You just keep showing up.
Yeah, man.
That was a big part of it, but another big part of it was getting you on the internet. That was the thing. So we got a chance to show people what I already knew, But like the only way for you back then to get exposure was you had to do something conventional. It's the only thing that existed. They had to put you in a movie or put you in a TV show, and you got in a few movies and you got in a few TV shows. But they didn't get to see you as Joey Diaz.
No, they didn't do that.
But they got to see you as some fucking character actor, and that mob movie with Robert De Niro. But there's a big difference between that and you, like this you.
Yeah.
Just it took the right thing for you to be this you. It took like the internet. But
No, the internet has, like, for Joey, is the best medium ever.
Yeah, for sure.
It's exploded.
Well, for you too.
No, it's gone. Yeah, but I mean,
for you
I have
too.
fun
I mean,
on
think
there.
about
I
you,
love
Tom.
having fun on it.
yeah,
I like it.
You're just as good of an example. Like, you don't have a lot of success outside of the internet.
No, that's true.
The internet has been your shit, man.
Yeah, that's
I mean, think about it. You didn't have like a long-running television series
No.
or a series of movies or anything you did.
No,
and
stand-up, yeah.
But you're selling out places that a lot of those guys can't even fuck with.
Yeah, that's true.
All the time because of your podcast, which is, if you haven't seen it, it's your podcast with your wife is one of my favorite podcasts. It's so fucking consistently silly.
It is very silly.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And people get silly when they get on it.
They do, yeah.
And then, I start like seeing things like, oh, this is like your mom's house bit. I need to send it to Tom.
Yeah, you
Like,
sent me a couple good ones.
I can't tell a story about taking a shit without 90 people hitting me up the next day telling me that was the most brilliant story in the world. We're going to send it to Tom Segura. Anytime I tell a shit
I know, I'm the
story,
shit comic. It's
or
awesome.
I fart myself or something disgusting. And 2 days later, sure enough,
I'm
you're playing
serious.
the fucking YouTube video.
That's true.
And howling
Yes,
with
we-
your wife.
it's
I'm
true.
howling. I'm like,
We
these
played
fucking-
Joey telling shit stories for sure. And he told us about when he shit in his backyard and somebody thought a bear had come.
I'll never forget. The lady, she would let her dogs out every day at 5, and then she would clean up. They were all French poodles.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're
I
like
can see
little.
the dogs,
it was-
asses high up in the air, were just reeling back from the shit. Like, what the
She
fuck?
It's a
went like
mountain of
this.
shit.
Joe Rogan, she looked at it, and she was like 58, so she squinted at the shit up against the wall. But here's what's beautiful. I took a shit, and I put my back against the wall. So when I shit, when you shit outside, it's not going to be a decent shit.
Yeah.
It's going to be like explosive. So when I got up, it looks like somebody got shot in the head. There was shit all behind me on the wall. So she's sitting there with her little French poodles and her little chihuahuas, and she's looking at the wall like, what the fuck happened there? And all of a sudden, she actually walks up close to it and squints and looks down on it and looks around and runs in the house. I'm watching all this. I can't breathe. And now I go to the computer because my wife's very decent. And I'm sitting there for a half hour. And then my wife comes in and she goes, were you home all day today? I go, yeah, why? She goes, I just had a conversation with Susan. She wanted to know if you heard anything in the backyard. Because some animal took a shit back there. I went to get sushi. Like, you ever go get sushi, eat a lot of it? The rice pushes everything out of your ass.
Yes.
And you had plans to go get a weed store, you were going to go to the post office. But I made a detour. I planned to go home, but I left the house key in the house. So I had to climb around the window. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So when I pulled myself up, I actually landed with my stomach on the window,
And now you really got
which
shit.
made it push it out more. Like and I'm fatter than fuck, and my hands are struggling in the window, and my little fat feet are on the other side, and the cats are meowing at me, scratching at me, right? And I'm like, it's me, you fuck. And so I ran down the stairs, and shit outside. It took like shit in the house.
Oh my
The
god.
best was the night I took a shit in Favorman's backyard after a 5-hour drive from Colton or some weird town.
Didn't he not talk to you after that for a
Yeah,
while?
for a while. I took a shit and then he ran over it with his car. And the whole backyard smelled like sewage waste. I go over there the next day. He goes, it smells back here. Let's talk in the house. He goes, I don't know what happened. And you can see the brown shit. He smushed it with his tire. And a bunch of flies were around. He didn't talk to me for a month after that. Who takes the shit in somebody's backyard? Don't hide it.
I know it was you.
Because I told him the truth. I felt bad. I was going to lie to the guy.
Oh, that's hard to clean up too.
Wow. Yeah, shit.
You can clean up dog shit, it doesn't even make you gag.
But human
But
shit?
bum shit,
Yeah.
if you had to clean up some wino shit, if you had to use one of those scrapers,
Yeah. It smells so much stronger, man.
we're gross.
It's so much
No.
more gross.
When you take a shit, it's okay. It's till you cut it in half. You ever
Right.
cut a shit in half?
No.
When that fucking,
I think I'm
when
gonna
that
throw
milk, when that Reese's peanut butter fume leaks out. Oh my God.
He's like, I've done studies.
No. When you go to jail,
You ever
it's
cut shit in
hysterical.
half?
When you go to prison,
You have to cut the shit.
you have to shit like in a tube while people are watching TV. Like when you go to county jail, you shit right there. So black guys will be laying there watching TV with their feet up, and all of a sudden they smell a little shit, and they're like, put some water in that hole, motherfucker. Like they'll just yell it from the other side of the fucking prison. Because that means you took a shit and you're sitting there, and the shit's permeating. So in prison, as soon as you shit, you got to put water on it.
Yeah.
But there's some bathrooms that only give you 20 ounces of water a day. So whatever time you flush, it's got to be a good flush. You follow me?
I
So
do
if you take
follow
a
you.
piss, sometimes the piss has to stay there until the next day until you take a good shit. But when you take a shit in jail, bro, that's what they'll tell you.
Put some water on
Put
it.
some hole in that motherfucking hole, dog. I can smell that shit right now. I'm trying to watch Oprah. But that's what smells. Once the hole
Yeah.
sucks it, it's like when you go to Vegas.
Yeah.